they say I'm supposed to say like, share, subscribe, and all that other stuff. But does it actually make you do it? Does it make you do it? Go. Here's what's happening. Rap and the conversations about rap for a period of time was taken out of the hands of people who make rap and put into the hands of people who were excluded from certain portions of hip hop culture. Here's what I mean. If you look at most of these streamers probably didn't have motion before they started streaming. They probably was in the way out there. And I'm not trying to act like I'm a street guy because I'm not. But when you think about hip hop and the language of the streets, right? You had a lot of these guys who were excluded from it. There's a lot of guys, they can listen to all the drill music they want. They can make all the gra gra boom noises they want, but they know that when they're faced with life situations that drill music talks about, or even the environment that it comes from, they're very far from that. A lot of these kids are upper middle class who just happened to stream from their basement and got popping. Shout out to DJ Academics, but not really a shout out. He was one of the forerunners who took the conversation of hip hop out of the hands and mouths of those who should be talking about hip hop. And he started talking about it so much so that he became the voice of it. And then he paired himself with Joe Budden to kind of validate that, even though Joe Budden didn't validate that for him, because nobody sitting with him ever thought he was a hip hop guy. But when he's constantly talking, constant, a lie told enough will turn into the truth. So if he speaks enough as an authority on hip hop, he will then turn into that. Academics spun off Black Boy Max, spun off Wakai Sanat, spun off I Show Speed, even though they don't talk about hip hop. They're young black streamers who have now taken the face of streaming and made it urban. When people say urban, they immediately think hip hop, even though those people might not even be championing hip hop or the kind of hip hop that we hold true. Streamer hip hop and hip hop are two different things. Most streamers don't even like hip hop, they like rap. They like the catchy stuff. They like the stuff that doesn't have a lot of words, stuff that they could just easily digest. Because the part about it that most of us miss is nobody really likes hip hop anymore, because it's become something of an elitist kind of game. Like if you look at the way most of us who know hip hop talk about hip hop, we exclude a huge audience of hip hop listeners who don't have the nuanced knowledge and the history of hip hop, nor do they want to learn it, because those things aren't promoted as important anymore. If anything, hip hop history kind of makes you feel like a fogey, and people who hear it, because they don't have the direct connection and tie to it emotionally that those of us who grew up with hip hop have, they want to eliminate the voice of us and give the voice to the people who just want to talk about it casually. It's not just hip hop that's happening in. It's happening in the movie space. Most people don't want to watch movies that they have to listen to that has dialogue, that has character development, that has good setup, good story, character arc. Like, they don't want to do that. They want to see some explosions with some people that they like. That's why Marvel movies are trash now, because they're not being made for people who actually have a desire and a heart for the comic book culture or the hip hop culture. Everything is made for casuals now, even content. The moment you start speaking too detailed about something, you immediately have your comment section berated and barraged by people who just want to argue with you. But that's internet culture anyway. But anyways, that was kind of an unexpected tangent. I feel like hip hop content is spinning their wheels, because a lot of us are making content to be consumed for people who don't want to consume content that's worthy of consuming. They want to land on something that they can just scroll past, right? Something that's going to entertain them quickly and they can move on. But most of us who take our craft serious, we don't make content like that. We don't even make music like that. We don't even know how. Like, we don't even know how to do a stunt. We don't even know how to make something catchy. We just struggle with it. And I say we, I'm really talking about myself. There might be people who don't struggle with that at all. But I don't know how to make content for the consumable folks. I only know how to make stuff for people who want to listen and want to hear, because I don't even engage in trivial conversation. How I'm going to get on here and be like, oh, did you see the new 50 Cent disc? I don't care. That's not hip hop. Like, all of this hip hop play acting and all the fake beef and the performative stuff, that's not hip hop to me. And it's getting people to have voices who shouldn't have a voice and who shouldn't have an opinion on certain things, because nobody's ever talking about rap. I feel like there's more worthy conversations within the culture than the ones we're currently having, but nobody's trying to hear that. They want the sensationalism. That's the word I was looking for before. Sensationalism. Got you. Go. When you get caught up in trying to please the masses, you're always being tossed to and fro with every wind of doctrine, right? Because one minute somebody's talking about this, the next minute they're talking about this. Now here you are running all over the place, chasing topics, throwing your camera on, talking about something just to get a few thousand likes and a few thousand views, and you don't even care about that topic. We have to stop trying to please the masses and just make what's for us and develop our audience around that, because we're never going to please the masses. The masses doesn't even know what it wants. The masses doesn't even know if it wants to have morals or not. We go on these fake witch hunts every 2 or 3 months for celebrities that never get brought to justice. We don't care about anything. We don't stand for anything. So why are you trying to please an audience who's just looking to scroll or swipe past what you have to say anyway? Just develop your audience. Be a trusted figure for the people who tune in for you continuously. Don't chase topics, because when you start chasing topics, no one will ever know who you are. You're just that person who's chasing topics and talking about certain things that other people are talking about. Like reheating other people's soup and calling it tonight's dinner is no way to eat. That was a bar. And that's another reason why most people don't really want to engage in hip hop, because they don't know what it takes to even rap well. So when they talk about it, they want to mock it. They want to take it to the back of the days and make fun of the things that they don't understand. Like that's where we're at. That's where we're at. We're not in a space where anybody wants to have real conversations about anything until they want to have a real conversation about it. And most of the stuff that people want to have real conversations about isn't even worth discussing at length. People are running around not understanding one another, not understanding one another's language, not understanding one another's thought process, motivations, none of that. Yet, here we are, digesting gossip about 2 grown millionaires who want to talk bad about each other's families for money, because they're the only ones benefiting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to come across preachy. I'm just trying to get it wrapped around people's minds that the masses don't care about you. So stop trying to please the masses. Find that audience, feed your audience, feed the streets, feed the people who are constantly tuning in to hear what you have to say. Don't chase clicks and likes, bro. You'll listen. Go. You know what's one of the saddest truths to me about our current culture? We will never have a movie experience like the experience you had when they were in Infinity War and Cap heard on your left and all of us stood up and started high-fiving strangers. Like every Marvel movie was that kind of event up until Infinity War. We high-fiving strangers. It was a community. We will never have that anymore. People seem to be too cool for public sentiment. Like I've seen footage of people in clubs and everybody standing around with their phone filming the same empty dance floor or filming themselves looking awkwardly away from the camera systematically while they pretend to be having fun, blowing light hookah smoke, dudes dancing with each other, holding sparkle bottles up in the air. Like, what has happened? When did people become too cool to have fun? That's literally what happened to the culture right now. I remember seeing Black Panther in the theaters. And I remember after Black Panther talking to complete strangers just about the cultural nuances and the cultural impact of this movie. Stood out there for like 20 minutes having a conversation with people and passersby joining the conversation. And that wasn't that long ago. Like, what has happened? I want to say COVID gave us a good excuse to stop caring about people. I feel like once we got that excuse to stop caring, we just became shut-ins because it seemed easier to do. We don't have to care about people anymore. We can just keep our distance. Hey, Chat GPT, I haven't spoken to my best friend from middle school in 27 years. How do I start a reintroduction conversation? That's where we are. Too cool for sentiment, too cool for emotion, too cool to feel, think, be, but finding ourselves being over emotional about things that we can't control while there's people in our midst who need us and we don't arrive for them because we're too busy caught up in this rat race. I have a lot on my mind today, and this is going out, probably unedited, because there's just a weariness. I'm just tired of people, places, and things. Go. I'm just tired of takers. Go. We could be better. We could be so much better. Go. Like, share, subscribe, all the stuff. You know, you're not going to do it anyway. But if you do, thank you. Go.